Up next, a quiet town, a secluded programmer, and an unqualified police force. Their only clues, a bloody corpse and thousands of dollars of stolen cryptocurrency. Omaha, Nebraska is home to the 8th largest cryptocurrency industry in America. As investors make their bets, the crime rate skyrockets. On June 5, 2010, the industry saw its first human casualty. I was on my way out my apartment to buy weed like every morning. Came out the elevator and that's when I saw it. Well, not so much saw it as I slipped on the pool of blood. Tried to wake the fella, but I'm pretty sure he was dead on account of the bullet to the head. I hollered for the cops.
When we found the body, he'd been dead for about 3 hours. Gunshot to the head, bleeding all over the place. It was not a pretty sight.
Police identified the victim as Benjamin Bunsen, a 22-year-old software engineer. His body was found on the ground floor of the apartment building where he'd been living with his older brother.
And he was a hell of a guy. He loved his little computers. I really couldn't believe it when he got shot.
Everybody loved Ben. He paid his taxes, volunteered at the homeless shelter, and even donated his semen to the sperm bank. I mean, he donated sperm every Friday. That's 4 times a month. Jesus Christ, that's 52 times a year. That's dedication. He just loved charity. Hell of a guy.
So who could be responsible for the death of such a beloved member of the community? Investigators spoke to his colleagues and learned about Benjamin's work.
He worked in cryptocurrency. Yeah, it turns out young Ben had written a piece of software that could mine the stuff at a highly accelerated rate. We tried investigating the mine, but they stonewalled us. Yeah, it turns out, it wasn't a real mine. It was virtual. You know, not real.
Ben Bunsen's Bitcoin mining algorithm was valuable. He generated a fortune overnight. But while he was making money, he was also making enemies.
From extensive examination, we determined the primary cause of death to be a precise laceration through the cranial dome of the skull. We extracted the bullet and sent it to the ballistics for examination. We also found multiple contusions of the blunt nature throughout the majority of his epidermal region. It became apparent that the contusions had a gravitational origin. We returned to the scene to investigate the fall theory. There was something to it, as the body was found at the bottom of the stairs. Shocking, I know. I didn't see it coming. The stairwell discovery blew the case wide open. Forensics examined the scene, and there was blood from the gunshot wound oozing down the stairs.
We began to suspect that Bunsen had been pushed, and that's when we decided to follow the blood trail. It led back to the 3rd floor of the apartment block, and that's when we spoke to the landlord. And that's when he gave us the footage. The security footage.
There was no camera on the stairwell, but footage of the 3rd floor corridor showed Ben Bunsen leaving his apartment with a bag of cash that he had recently made with his Bitcoin algorithm. Shortly after, a man in a hat could be seen from behind, heading in Bunsen's direction. The bag of cash was not found at the crime scene. It had been stolen.
We showed the footage to Ben's brother to see if we could identify the suspect.
As soon as I saw it, I knew. I gave him that hat last Christmas. That's my paw. I got him a label maker, too.
The man in the security footage was none other than Alan Bunsen, father to Ben and Phil. But could a man really be responsible for the robbery and murder of his own son?
We brought the father to the station to get some answers, but he wouldn't crack. He was like a brick wall.
Investigators grilled Alan for hours, but he remained silent.
When you're trying to nail a murder suspect, you need to bang out 3 things: means, motive, and opportunity. The murder weapon was nowhere to be found. That's a hard one. He was at the scene, so that's opportunity.
But what was his motive, and was it tied to the Bitcoin fortune?
My pa was on hard times on account of his laziness and gambling. When he lost it all, hit my moonshine hard. I guess cops heard them messages on Benny's phone about that Bitcoin. They tried to nail him with that.
Now we win a kind of fuck all we go to. That we like a book call that man better.
We played the message back to him, and he still wasn't budging. This guy was good. Really good.
Investigators couldn't get the admission they wanted, but they had enough evidence to arrest Alan Bunsen. When his day in court finally came, the case lasted 6 weeks with numerous witnesses on both sides.
We managed to digitally reconstruct the crime scene. We determined that the projectile made an impact with Mr. Bunsen at the topmost point of the stairwell. He exceeded his stability limit and proceeded to plunge down 3 flights of stairs, where he was later discovered that day. We couldn't believe how many people defended this dingleberry. He was an audacious son of a gun, consistently thrusting at the judge, the jury, just everyone. But they gobbled it up. Thought he was just a charming, upstanding guy. I thought we were screwed for sure.
But just when it seemed that all hope was lost, the forensics team submitted one final piece of evidence.
Ballistics determined the serial number of the revolver used to commit the murder. We traced the purchase of the firearm back to Big Al's gun shop in Buffalo County. The weapon was registered to Mr. Alan B. Bunsen.
The prosecution finally had the smoking gun they needed. Alan Brian Bunsen was found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life without parole.
I was sad about my pa, but at least there's justice for little Benny.
When a case is won through scientific evidence, the true heroes are the forensic scientists that got the job done. Although, as a lawyer, I made a lot more money. Sometimes it's the forensic evidence that exposes the true nature of man. It's a horrifying thought that without advancements in forensic science, this murder would have remained unsolved.
What seemed like a monumental forensic achievement at the time would later be undercut by the discovery of the murder weapon the day after the trial, in a potted plant at the scene that police had previously failed to search. A revolver with the killer's name displayed on the handle thanks to a label maker given to him by his son for Christmas the previous year.